Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I'm Sean. This is In The Mixer, episode number 16. Now I've got to kind of do two hands, which is ridiculous, but we are at the end of the season. If you haven't gone and watched episode 15 from earlier in the week, go and check that one out. It'll bring you up to speed on the off season, our plans for the year, all that sort of fantastic stuff. And we are going to bring an end to another year with Shenyang Urban in today's episode as well. Still a whole bunch to play for, some exciting stuff going on as well. We're at a little bit of a crossroads in the series, but we will go through that as we go through each of these games. Let's jump in and see how we've gotten on. So first and foremost, we are currently sitting up above my head there in third position in the division, 29 games played, plus 21 goal difference and 51 points. We are 9 points behind Shandong at the moment. They are pretty much guaranteed champions. In fact, I think they were crowned last weekend officially. We could potentially jump above Kunshan if results go our way on the final day of the season and we get a good victory. But Shanghai, Shenhua and Zhejiang can both jump above us into those top three spots if we lose and potentially if they get good victories and a bit of a goal swing, because our goal difference is one of the better ones in the division. So there is still a tremendous amount to play for on the last day of the season. If we have a look even at the competitions here, briefly at the start of the year, we were at first a couple of different times, but then for the rest of the year, we dropped down as low as 7th. We've kind of just been pulling to stay in those top 4 positions throughout the remainder of the year. A couple of good little runs of form at various points that would just get kind of derailed by the way I play the game, which is that like I'll do a month and then come back the next day or the day after or the weekend or whatever else and play through the rest of the games. Doing that, I think, resets our form quite a bit. Like you can see, we had good runs and good months, went undefeated in July, started the season incredibly well, all the way through to January. I think we won most of our friendly games. We started the season pretty well, winning the first 2. Dropped off a little bit after that, but then had a really good spell where we kind of went top of the division after winning 6 games straight. Then it bottomed out for no reason. We lost 3 games. And then again, get another good spell, as I mentioned, in July before September was a bit slow for us. October's been okay. And so far, a good win against Kunshan in November. And we finish off the season today against Beijing, one of the sides that would have been at the start of the season, up towards the top of the season preview, expected to do really well. In fact, they're still expected to win the league somehow, even though they're in 7th, while we are right down the very bottom. Leonidas Sturgeon, who you probably recognise from a couple of your saves, he is their star player. He's in the Media Dream 11, but otherwise it is relatively balanced. That title victory will be Shanghai's 3rd in a row. They are putting together a bit of a dynasty that we're trying to kind of break up a little bit. But if we can guarantee that top 3 finish, there's no chance that we lose our top 4 spot. I think technically we could finish top 4 and get Champions League because Shanghai Shenhua are actually in the Chinese FA Cup final. I'll try and bring you guys that result as well in today's episode, if I remember. There's a few teams that have sacked their coaches: Tianjin, Jiangsu, Dalian Pro, Beijing, Guangzhou. Guangzhou job's actually still open at the moment. Shanghai Port are going back down despite being one of the richest clubs in the division, which is crazy. So there is quite a bit of different stuff going on at different points. We haven't had anyone come and offer us a job though, which is the real challenge at the moment. If you look at the profile, reputation is up to 40%, which is good. I don't know how high we have to get before people in this division start actually offering me roles. This will mark the end of our 3rd season with Shenyang Urban. I would love to make a jump to another one, which is why I think we're kind of at a crossroads. There is a part of me that kind of maybe wants to look at the job center at the end of the season and see what else is out there, but I might get some feedback from you guys in the comment section below on Twitter as to what you guys think we should do. Should we persevere and try and win a league title with Urban, even though there's some difficulty to that, or should we try and make a jump over to a rich club and get ourselves off the continent of Asia, get the first Champions League in the bag and start making our way through the different world leagues to try and get that Pentagon completed? Finances, because it is the other big one and probably the biggest downside. We're currently in negative 44 million for the season, which is even after getting a takeover during the year and getting an additional like 50 million injected back into the club. We're not doing anything too horrific. I am way over transfer budget, or sorry, not what transfer budget, wage budget. But like even then, that shouldn't be really creating this continued falling into debt the way that we have been each and every season. We are still paying off that loan for the stadium, which has been great for us, but our income hasn't increased by like the same exponential amount. These little spikes here that you can see, like they don't even cover that initial loan yet. So we're probably going to be a few more seasons going into debt, or at least a few more seasons where we're like way over our wage budget. Thankfully, the club doesn't seem to care. I'm still an A+ manager despite being like way under repairing the financial damage and working within the wage budget. But that's mainly because like we are so far ahead of where we're supposed to be. Avoid relegation, we're in the top 3 spots. We will see if that changes with time. If we get through this end of the season and we make Champions League and we know that we're going to be in that competition next year, maybe that will spike up our wage budget a little bit, or at least give us a transfer budget to work with that I could then shift across the wage budget and diminish the impact that I'm having on it. But I think even if we took that portion out, the club would still be losing quite a bit of money each season. And I guess that kind of comes with getting the stadium and getting all that sort of stuff. As far as transfers throughout the season are concerned, we eventually raised $37 million. We did turf a couple extra players on either free transfers or in the July transfer window just to try and get some bit of revenue back in. Mainly guys that were looking to leave, like Xiao Lang, like Yongzhu. And we didn't really strengthen. We kind of just moved down to having a squad of about 20 players, which has worked out relatively well for us. Most of them have stayed fit. Coaching-wise, our squad has been pretty decent. We've added a couple extra bodies, which have helped us go to like the highest averages for a few different things in the league, but we want to continue to grow and develop that throughout the course of the season. We do have the worst physios in the league, which might be something that we have to work on this off-season as well. But the recruitment team's getting a lot better. Our staff is continuing to grow and improve. The one thing I cannot get, which is quite frustrating, and we'll go start a coaching course. I'll show you in a minute. They won't let me take a coaching course because they're worried I'll leave and go to another club, which is fair because I am thinking about that, but they really are kind of holding me back at the moment where I am only a national A licensed footballer, a national A licensed coach, when I should be much further up at this point, given what we've won, given the success we've had. But more than enough from me. We've got some good stuff we want to cover off after the game, but we are going to play this final game of the season against Beijing and see how we get on. Our strongest squad is pretty much available. Li Zhengjun has played the last couple of months over as the inverted wing on the right-hand side and has done quite well. Yanadis, he did get some shin splints and he was out for about 3 months, so we lost him for quite a big chunk of the season. Bai Liang's got a bit of a knock as well, but he wouldn't start anyway. But otherwise, the squad has been doing relatively well. We'll review some of their individual performances and players of the season as we get past this match. And as we get underway, I'm just hopeful we can get a good result to close out the season. Beijing are still a very good side. They've still got some of the best players in the division, even though they have had a bit of a down year outside the Champions League spots. And I think most of the times we played them, they have beaten us as well. First highlight is working well here on the left-hand side. It pinballs around. Nearly fell to Wang An there with the chance to strike, but it gets cleared away. King Yi's been excellent, just swings that ball across. Not quite sure if that was a cross or a shot, but it fizzes past the far post regardless, and first highlight comes to an end. Through 30 minutes now, we're just going to throw a Demand Morsh out in there, try and get a little bit of a boost to the team. I'd take a gritty 1-0 win to finish off the season and guarantee our Champions League finish. They've got a corner here though. They've gone near post and they've powered at home. Li Zijie with the header. Number 10 this season for him. Bit frustrating. These are set-piece goals that we concede pretty regularly. And Wang An and Lu Chunjin were both there. Probably should have done better. Chunjin's pretty good out of the air. And they've had one shot for 0.8 XG, and they lead the game 1-0. Key Long with a flick on header here, though. Can we come straight back at him and try and find an equaliser? Great ball back stick. We can indeed. It's Li Zhengjun with the ball, and Souza peels off the shoulder, as he has done so many times this season, and smashes the finish home to restore parity at 1-1. It is a great run here, and on his wrong foot, swings that one back post, and Souza gets it inside that favoured left and just side foots it home at the far post. Zhang Peng in goal there for Beijing is one of the better keepers in the division, and he could do absolutely nothing about that one. Half time though, 1-1. Can we try and push on and find a winner here in the second half? I'm going to say I'm happy with your performance so far. Everyone seems inspired and motivated. And as we always do, we'll give it to the hour mark before we look at some subs and changes. First highlight of the second half, goal kick, a long ball forward. Keelong knocks it down to Zhengjun again, who's been busy, beats one man and finds a strike. It's an excellent goal from a man that hasn't really started that many games for us outside of the injury to Yanadis. Keelong with a lovely flick on header. And he pretty much just goes the entire way on his own. Beats the first defender, who goes to ground, gets it back on his favourite left foot, and then just smashes it past Zhang Peng, who maybe could have done a little bit better with his angles there, but an excellent finish, and we go 2-1 up. There is an immediate highlight here from kickoff, though. This could be a concern. It's a long ball forward that Min Kun should recover for us. Min Kun maybe wants to leave as well this off-season. He's kind of been signalling that he wants to move on. Souza's got his second goal of the game, and I've missed calling it out. It was Vasil with a lovely way to pass him behind, and Souza just rifles this shot beyond the keeper. It's a wonderful play. And Zhengjun, good ball across from him again. He's involved in everything. Vasil brings it down, plays the reverse pass. Souza just rifles that one near post on that favoured left foot. Again, Zhang Peng maybe could have done better with his angles, but we are 3-1 up and in cruise control as we head into the last bits of this game. Looks like Shenhua have potentially started to drop points on the last day of the season, which might see Zhejiang, Energy Greentown, sneak their way into the top 4 spots. Souza, lovely finish there. He's got his hat-trick, and he's done very well to bring this one down. Again, lovely little exchange here from the throw-in. We're starting to find form at the right time of the season, which is excellent. Maresh with the ball across here to Key Long. Vasil with the ball in behind again. Again, that connection for another goal. And Souza again going near post. You think Zhang Peng would be more wary of that near post finish. But we are at the hour mark, so we're going to hit pause. We're just going to go on condition here. Final game of the season. No need to risk injury. Zhu Qi, who's been excellent for us this season, will come off. Zhang Wei, who played up front for us last year, he'll come on for a little bit. Souza, a little bit underdone, and he's on a yellow. I'm going to take him off because he's on that hat-trick. We'll get him that round of applause that he so thoroughly deserves. And then the last one, I'm going to take off Keelong. I'm going to bring on Liu Jun, who's been excellent for us in a bench role this season, jumping in to start where he needs to, and then also chipping in with a good few goals. Important to have that secondary striker in your squad. I've thrown a demand more shout out there as well. We'll see how that goes. But really, I'd take 4-1 if you had offered it before the start of the game. Into the last 10 minutes, I'm going to throw praise out there. Let's just see how the team responds to that and if we get any late highlights. Corner to be taken again by Beijing, and again they've powered it back through. It's Chu Zibo with that one. Set pieces have been our undoing today, and 2 corner routines. And it's a cross back across there by Li Ziji, who scored the first goal, and it's powered home. Sets up a bit of a nervy finish, but we should be all right. 2-goal buffer should be more than enough. Vasil, Wang An, reverse pass in there towards Li Jun, but Zhang Pen does well to come out and claim that one. Zhang Wei, switch pass out here, Zhang Yuring, and that drive just beyond the far post. A little bit of nervy finish here. We're just going to throw one more demand more shout in, just to give everyone hopefully a little bit of focus into the last 5 minutes of injury time. And full time, 4-2 victors in the end. We needed 3 points, and it was a good performance. Very late surge from Beijing in terms of their XG and shots. We've been on top of them for most of it. I'm going to say, well done, lads. Your performance has secured us qualification for the Champions League, which is absolutely fantastic to see. What has that done to the rest of the table? Shandong finished on 61 points, 7 points clear of us in the end. Kunshan, 1 point ahead of us. They did get a draw on their last day of the season with Shandong, funnily enough. It maybe if they'd have lost that, we could have jumped up into second spot, but I don't think there was much chance of that happening. Shenhua eventually got themselves an equaliser against Dalian Professional. They jump up into 4th, and Zhejiang, the unlucky losers, they finish in 5th spot, likely on head-to-head with Shenhua, based on their both having 51 points. Shanghai will go down, Shanghai Port and Qingdao, who've given us all sorts of grief over the last few seasons, they head back down into the 2nd division. But we're securing a Champions League spot for next season for the first time, which is fantastic. Initial budgets aren't as great as I'd hoped, 1.95 million per week and a transfer budget of 697k. We're currently spending like 2.6 or something like that on wages, so we're not covered in that response yet. Souza gets a hat-trick. We're going to give him a bunch of praise, and he's been excellent so far for us this season. Looking at our leading players, leading appearance makers are Souza and Min Kun, who played pretty much every game this season. Vasil, Zhu Qi, Wang An just behind them on 33. Leading goal scorer is Souza for the season, 13 for the year. Unitas chipping in with 10. Zhao Qilong getting 9. Chiaoru Jun Ang also in with a few goals there as well. Assists, we had a couple of players that were superb this season. Wang An leads the way with 11, playing at that number 10 spot. Souza with 10. He's contributed to 23 goals with assists and goals on his own. He's probably jumped in with a bunch of other like assists to goals and pass to assists and all that sort of stuff. Qing Wei has been excellent this season, jumping in at right back for us at the start of the year. He has dropped off a little bit in terms of star ability, but his performances have been excellent. And highest average rated players for the season, Juarez Moraes, 7.15 over the year, Zhu Qi, 7.12, and Unitas with 6.98 amongst the pick of the players there. But some excellent stuff from the team to get our highest place finish at any point throughout the series so far. So good news, I've got the legend thing that's come up because I've won the Manager of the Year award 5 times, which is fantastic to see. Record high finish for Shenyang, our 3rd place finish, 4 points clear of what we had last year. Club visions haven't really changed much next season. They haven't really given us much to do other than continue to stay in the Super League and fight bravely against relegation again next year. So very little pressure. Plans for next season, we're just going to tell everybody that we're in a good position to avoid relegation, and they are happy with that. I'm going to say we're going to give a good account of ourselves in the Champions League. They're happy with that. And we'll discuss promises next season where Zheng Jun is disappointed. I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll deal with that next season. Team report looks relatively solid for the entirety of the group. They head away on their end of season break, which goes for about 2 months. Ji Xiaolong has won the Player of the Season award. Fair few goals from the Shandong forward in their title-winning season. Chen Jianfeng from Guangzhou, 21-year-old, wins Young Player of the Season. Not one we can pick up, but his contract is up at the end of next year. We might keep an eye on him. Zhilong Fan, who's won a couple of awards over the last few years, gets a good result there for Changchun. He looks to be quite the player, actually, at 23 years of age. And in the mixer, Chinese Super League Manager of the Year winner, which is absolutely fantastic. 53% win ratio for the career so far, 779 manager points for the season. That is the first time that I've won that award in China, so great to get that sort of recognition. And the chairman seems relatively happy with that as well. Now, Job Center is what I'm interested in. Guangzhou job is up and the Changchun job is up. Both of those clubs have relatively decent finances and relatively decent sides. Changchun just stayed in the division, but they have got quite a few players that are on ridiculous money, 610,000 a week for a couple of players there. That is absolutely insane. But I think I'm going to stay the course. I don't think I'm going to apply for either of those jobs. I think I'm going to wait, do the off-season with Shenyang and see if any of these roles actually come back and offer us a job interview. That's really what I want. I think I do want to make a jump to a new club just to keep it fresh for you guys, like a new team to support, a new squad to go through, a bit more of an adjustment, and then also hopefully get to a club that doesn't have these financial issues, because that's obviously a massive issue for us as well. We will have to sell again this off-season to try and raise some revenue. We'll likely do that for a few of these players that are down towards the actual current ability in the squad itself. And a couple of these guys that are like 21 years of age now that aren't going to hit this like 4-star ability, we might try and get rid of them just to refresh the squad a little bit, bring some more teenagers in just to give us that little bit of depth. But all in all, an exciting season. We have finished in the Champions League spots for the first time. That'll be exciting stuff to bring you guys next season. We will see how we go this off-season, and I'll bring you guys back if anything big or massive happens. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the part that I appreciate the most. If you want to support the channel that little bit further, drop a like on this video. Helps us get higher in YouTube search results when people look for Football Manager content. You can also subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on this series and all our future series as they continue throughout the rest of the year and into FM22 as well. You can check out the links in the description as well to the reserveteam.com.au, where I do a whole bunch of video work each week, all things Australia, New Zealand football if you're interested in the greatest league in the world, the A-League itself. But more than anything, as always, I just appreciate you guys watching. I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.